Hey you. So I came across what you're looking at here. It's by developer Voids Within, and it's a city builder for lazy people who don't want to spend days and days gathering resources and running an economy just to make something cool looking for a wallpaper or just some screenshots, or maybe you crank up the PC, don't know what you want to play yet. I don't know, but you gotta spend that last hour doing something before you hit the sack to wake up for work. Dystopika got just the thing for you. All right, so once you get past the menu screens, you're right in the game. And you've got the city, or excuse me, the building tool. So you just click build, and it randomly makes shapes, the building shapes. I don't think there's anything you can control, but what you can control is rotation, position, and height, right? And when you bring up the height, then little surrounding buildings pop up. But what we want to do here is kind of, you know, matter of fact, let's start over. Let's start a new city. So I want the city to tell a bit of a story here. Why not have a story? We'll put a bunch of buildings in the middle, bring them up, just drag those. And the controls are real easy. You're just clicking and dragging. Left click moves the camera around, or you can use WASD, move back and forth, or you got scrolls, which I love the scroll sound. Sounds like Blade Runner when he was on that futuristic microfiche machine. Don't know why they had a microfiche, but it was dope. I loved it. So you just click, drag, and the little city starts to take shape. Maybe rotate some of the ones on the outside, just so that the others stay on the grid and others, the outside ones, are kind of standing sentry. How tall can you make this? I think what happens is when you scroll out, then you can make them a bit taller. Or maybe just determined by the building type. These are tall, but I've seen some really ginormous. What's that building in the first Blade Runner? Whatever that one was, that gigantic Lorville looking building. Can't make something as wide as it, but very tall. So you might say, dig, this is all very cool, but very dark and lifeless. You grab your light, I'm gonna call it the light brush, and just start painting. You can click, what is that? Never seen that one. You can click on some building faces and you get some signs to pop up on them. I don't know what determines where you can paint or not, but that worked. If I click up here, that won't work. Oh, well, that particular time it did, because I was trying to demonstrate that it don't work. So it worked. Anyway, and on the ground, you can paint some little signage on the ground. Start to make your city come alive a bit. Just kind of fill it in. Or not, depending on how much RGB are you into. So if we zoom out, you can see the boundaries. So you can only build so far. You can build a little bit outside of the boundaries. Maybe is this just the corners, maybe? Actually, I think the ones outside are just kind of incidental. Like you build one, some other ones pop up next to it. Yeah, like that. So what I kind of want going on is to tell a story about all the poor people living on the edges that the rich people on the inside are basically using as a wall to shield themselves from the rest of the world. So me and all the other poor people is out here just living in a low income housing, which probably isn't low enough. And voila. Now we got some layers to this thing. A lot of banding going on around the edges coming from the fog. Here we have on the corners. The corners got kind of taller buildings. They're maybe the guard towers. I feel like this is a macro version of that place in The Wire. I forget their little trap area, but the name of it was. Okay. So you might say it's a bit dreary, and you would be right. That's when you come over here, click this camera. There's all the camera options for movement, roll, and pitch, and height, and all that stuff. Exposure, crank that up, or not. Lens dirt, which, yeah, there you go. Just put some textured reflections on the lens. But a dab would do you with this. Here's where it gets a little bit more interesting. So you can lift the fog completely, right? More Midgar. That Midgar action. Change the height, which I'm not sure what they mean by that. Actually, I do. Because if it's right here and I scroll out, I bet you I'm in a fog. Oh, that's as far as I can scroll. Let's see. I don't know. You'll figure it out on your own. You can affect the way the fog is playing with the sun. But it's quite dark. Crank that up. Crank the sun intensity up. Maybe the saturation a bit. Change the color more toward daylight. Oh no, we'll go stick to the golden hour. More gold. I said more gold. Perfection. And you can change the time of day. Which, if you look in the right direction somewhere, you can find the actual sun, your light source, right? There she be. Which would be really dope if you had some way to control it without dragging this, so you can make a nice little time lapse. And you can play that little morning music. I don't know what that is. With the horns. But changing the sun's direction gives you some super cool options. I'm gonna get rid of that lens grime because it's kind of killing my vibe here. Like I said, a dab would do you. Maybe a little bit. So let's change that sun direction back to. Let's see, there we go. Maybe crank up the fog. Now we've got some volumetric lighting coming between the buildings. Moving the shadows around, which can give you some beautiful composition or beautiful details in your composition. You can do a nice little flyby, fly through. And you notice that as the buildings start coming together, your city starts getting built, these little cars start populating the area. If I hit play up here, they begin to move. And you see, like that one, I don't know if you saw it, took off from this rooftop right here. It's a landing pad. And while you got everything moving, you can take a little tour. Now, if we crank the fog up, completely obscures the city, and we can come in and have the city unveiled till it's nice and saturated. What's cooler to use for something like that is if you have a control on deck, you control the speed better, because with the arrows or with the WASD, it's kind of one speed. Waiting for my controller to connect here. So instead of one speed like that, it shouldn't be too fast or too slow for your taste. Move this cursor out. You can come in nice and smooth. Or nice and smooth, because smooth is smoother than smooth. Or you can crank it up. Controller also lets you zoom in all the way and all the way out. Or step zoom. So they don't quite let you choose the shape of the building. I don't think. I feel like I've done it on accident a few times. But, oops. There are some different buildings that aren't appearing in my build for whatever reason. Let's see. Maybe they only change shape when you change the height. But there's a very cool one. It's got kind of a watchtower shape to it that will look really dope on the edges. As you can see, I mean, we've been in here for a few minutes, maybe a little longer, and we got something cool. And I hope they keep building and adding stuff to this game, because this can get really dope. It's super relaxing playing this. I mean, I'm chilled out. This is the third time I've had to record this just because, you know, user error. Which is annoying, but, you know, as I start doing this, I'm super chill again. And I'm chilling enough that I want to get this looking a little better. So I'm gonna go over here, use good old filters that is on everything ever on the internet these days. Oh wait, I'm going the wrong direction. So I think if we get some in the foreground, background, and in the middle, we might have us some here. Let's place a building here. What is this? Oh, there's your delete building. Okay. Getting all carried away. Let's get those painted up. All right, back to what we was doing. So let's put a building, a few buildings out here. This is maybe this extends out from the poor people building. Oh, there's that building I was looking for. Yes, sir. Now that looks good. So we got a watchtower that's watching to make sure the poor people don't get into the rich area. Put it closer to here. If you hit Q and E, that gives you a nice fast rotation instead of dragging. Well, actually dragging's fast too. There, these are kind of connected. All right, now we got some. Let's compose a shot here, which is already not looking bad at all. One thing you can use is, like right now, anywhere I'm dragging, you can see the UI at work. But if I'm trying to line up a shot, that's a little distracting. Boom, done. Let's make it pretty with some good old filter love. Neptune, Europa, Venus, and Uranus. It never gets old, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think I like Neptune. That was pretty dope too. Murph. Wasn't that the daughter in what was that space movie with Matthew McConaughey? Don't let him leave, Murph. And cut the filter intensity down or up. But if you notice, when I edit, I am one of those guys who crank the saturation and the contrast up. So we're gonna leave it be. You gotta be true to who we are, my friend. Looks like an atomic bomb coming through. What the bloom? Yeah, looks like the beginnings of the first few microseconds of a bomb exploding. So once you got your shot all like how you like it, go up here. Got yourself a screenshot, throw it on your desktop, make it look pretty. Class up the joint. It's a very cool experience. The Cyberpunk night vibe will be a lot of folks' cup of Earl Grey, and the easy peasy stress-free city building is just right when you're not in the mood for hardcore, heavily involved gaming. Cause it's not a game. There's no grind, nothing to accomplish, except chill out and make something cool. And we need those kind of breaks from our everyday, regularly scheduled game grind, so we can go back to them refreshed and with our mental batteries recharged. It's a complete de-stressor. There's a few opportunities to really make it sing though. I don't know what they have planned for the future, but a few things added here and there will make this thing even more amaze-balls. The controls are super simple and anybody can just jump in and start the experience immediately. But a little complexity wouldn't hurt if it meant having more control over the camera without having to go into a menu to access them. On-the-fly camera speed control would definitely be a plus. You too, Star Citizen. There's not a ton of variety on the images on the buildings. Being able to import your own images or animated GIFs will beef it up considerably. I'm sure you'd end up having to crop or resize things to fit beforehand, but it'd be worth it to set up that screenshot of the building with the flying Rocinante next to the Riley Freeman building. A toggle option to have the night and day cycle while you're building would add a little bit of visual variety. VR comes to mind immediately when you're thinking about Dystopika, especially if down the road they added streets and NPCs going about their dystopian Blade Runner lives. But even now, it would be the ultimate chill out experience to lean back in your chair enveloped by the city you're creating. More ambient music options are in order. You could always cut the music down and play your own, but more options that the developers feel fit the vibe would be welcome. The Dystopika demo is available to download on Steam right now, my friend, with no official release date except 2024. You can find the link below in the description. In the meantime, check out this video, boss. Fly dirty citizen.